Hi, everyone. Welcome to my talk today about de-stressing and anxiety. My name is Deborah Lee Smith. I'm an actor, a producer, and a mental health advocate. I'm just going to wait a second. We're only 15 seconds in, and just have some people join us, and then we'll start a conversation. Just so you guys know the format of what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to start by introducing myself, as well as the organization that I have founded called More Than You See. So I'm going to do a little bit of background around that. And then I would love to just share some different tactics that I have used in order to be more grounded and de-stress. This is especially prevalent because so many of us are working from home. And this is especially prevalent because of what's going on in our country right now, and how things are just, definitely a little more stressful than normal. So I would love to have a conversation with everyone about that. I am in no way an authority. These are just my opinions. And they may or may not be the opinions of the mighty. I'm just going to make that very clear. These are my opinions and my opinions of More Than You See, which is my organization. So again, hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Deborah Lee Smith, and I am an actor and a producer and a mental health advocate here in Los Angeles, California. A little bit about me and my organization, More Than You See. So about a year ago, I started an organization based around providing non-traditional mental health resources to the community. I was going through a really difficult time, and I found that non-traditional resources like podcasts, like books, like songs and TED Talks were the things that really helped me and pulled me out of the dark tunnel that I was progressing down. And during one such exploration of these different types of tools, I listened to a podcast with Zachary Levi, and he was talking about how he had gone through something really difficult before he had shot Shazam. And, he's a big actor, someone who I really, looked up to, really admired. And to hear him talk so openly about his own mental health struggles was something that really helped me. And I have really wanted to, like the way that he helped me, I really wanted to do the same and give back and help others. And so I decided when I was listening to that podcast that I was going to create this organization to bring together, to provide non-traditional resources to people. For example, over the last month, I've actually been hosting a digital art show over on our More Than You See Instagram and on our Facebook page, as well as on our website. And I'm sure that they'll drop all of those details into the chat so you guys can follow along there. But just so you know, so our Instagram, is our platform is morethan-uc.com, and our Instagram is instagram.com/morethan_UC. And if you go over there, you can see we've actually had an incredible submissions from around the world, people talking about all of the different ways that art has impacted their life and how they've been able to use art to express their inner selves and their own mental health struggles. And it's been really so amazing and wonderful. And it's something that we will again do next year because it was such a huge success. It's definitely something I want to continue to focus on. And just so everyone knows, we actually do have a few more submissions that we would like to post, including a painting that I did myself. But we've decided that we are going to hold off for this week. That way we can, all focus can be put onto the Black Lives Matter movement and make sure that we are not pulling focus. And that's something that I would like to sort of start us on our conversation about the importance of taking care of ourselves and our own anxiety and depression and our own feelings when there is all of this, going on in the world right now. And let me start off by saying that, again, my views may not be the views of anyone on here, and that's totally fine. I, very publicly am very supportive of Black Lives Matter and think that that's very important. But I also am a mental health advocate, and I find that my own anxiety and stress levels during this past few days has skyrocketed. And I want to, address that because they don't cancel each other out. It's important to acknowledge that while we can be allies and while we can, choose to support causes, it's also important to still, figure out how you can ground yourself and take care of yourself and your own needs during this time. And I mean this with all of the compassion and love that I have in my heart. I, just want to, mental health is always important. It is always something that we should put, first and foremost, and that is really what this conversation is about. So let's get started. So some things that I have really been very supportive for me is my dog. He just went into the other room. I was actually going to introduce him today, but if he comes back during this conversation, I will certainly introduce him to you all. So I, oh, there he is. He just barked. So, during these, during this past year, I found, sorry guys, I'm sure you can hear him. I think the mailman came to the door. During this past year, my dog has been so important to me and so important for my own mental health. And I've hosted 2 others of these chats before, and other people have also talked about how much their animals have been, so important to them. And that's something that, if there is a, here he is, I'm going to introduce you guys to him. Finn, no, come here, bud. So, this is my dog. This is Phineas. So something that has been really important to me has been him. And in my last conversation, I talked with the guest that I was with, about the importance of having someone or something that you have a responsibility towards, and that is certainly something that has been huge for me, is to have an animal or something that I know that needs my love and care, and it gives my life purpose. Every day, I know that I need to wake up and I need to do things both to take care of myself, but also to take care of my dog. If you can't have a pet in your home, or you don't want to have a pet, or pets are not something that you want, I would recommend that you get a houseplant. Honestly, it's, plants have been shown, not only to, people who garden, people who take care of plants, they've definitely been shown to help increase the lifespan of people, but also because, plants obviously absorb the carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen back into the air. So what a plant is doing just through its daily osmosis practice is actually, giving life back to you in the form of oxygen. And when you don't have enough oxygen, your body just doesn't function correctly. So I would strongly, strongly recommend, get a plant or just go walk outside in nature. And that brings me to my second thing. Right now, because we are all so, we are all, or a lot of us are still inside in quarantine, or paying attention to stay-at-home orders, and a lot of us are still working from home. And because of that, that certainly, has us have more screen time than normal, because we are now, looking at our computer screens and then looking at our television screens, and there is not any reason to go away from those two things. I mean, even if you were, in your car driving to work, that was still providing another environment for you to, inhabit. And even though it was a car or a subway, or you rode your bike to work, any of those things are still a different environment that you are inhabiting. And that is, very, hugely important. So that brings me to my second thing, which is get out of your current environment. I love my little office setup that I've set up here, but at least 4 times a day, I will get up and I will, go for a walk around my neighborhood, or do some jumping jacks or something, in order to, get out of this environment that I'm in. Something that I read, he was I don't remember which entrepreneur, but I love reading, interviews with entrepreneurs. And he was talking about how he only works in 50-minute blocks, 50. And so what he does when he sits down at his computer, or, whatever, is he will set a timer for 50 minutes. And as soon as that timer ends, and then he'll start work, obviously. So he'll work for 50 minutes. As soon as that timer ends, he will get up from his desk, no matter what he's doing, and start doing jumping jacks. And he's got a whole 10-minute thing that he does in order to get the blood moving again in his body. And he was joking about how his, staff at this point, knows that he does this. So they now know that even if he's on a call, he will finish that call or tell that person that he needs to call them back. And then he will go and do his little 10 minutes of exercise. Obviously, if, not all of us have the luxury of being an entrepreneur and owning our own company and being able to do something like that. But I do think that, that's something I've tried to do as much as possible, is to set a timer. And honestly, it's even helpful for me to personally note, wow, 50 minutes just passed and I have not moved. And I have been staring at this computer screen for the last almost an hour. Clearly, I need to get up and, go do something that's, has a bit, that's going to, bring some energy and some life back into my day. Along with that, obviously, if you can get outside, obviously that's great. There's a lot of, studies about why it's important for us to get outside. Obviously, vitamin D is very important, which is from the sun. That is very, a crucial part of our life and the, genetic makeup of our body. It's very, very important for us to do that. And along with that, also, when you're driving or when you're outside and you have to move from one place to another, your eyes are having to focus on things, far away from you. And that, of course, is not something we are doing, again, because we're looking at computer screens. So again, I just find it so valuable to stop whatever I'm doing, go outside, look at some birds far away. I don't know, something to refocus myself and also remind myself that there's, a bigger world outside. And that will bring me to my next thing. And this is something oh my gosh, that I have found very valuable right now in these last few days is to ground yourself in the understanding of who you are here and now, and what your current environment is, and if there's anything that you can do to change or improve your current environment. And what I mean by this is this. So for example, if I'm dealing with a work problem and I'm really stressed, or I'm watching something on the news and I can feel my anxiety levels rise and my heart is racing, you know, I'm starting to get markers in my brain that is telling me, you're in danger, you're in danger. That is what stress and anxiety is your body is going into a state of fight or flight, and your body is saying you are in danger. Now, this is why breathing and meditation is so incredibly important, because by breathing, you're literally resetting your, thank you, Michael. Yeah, definitely. So by breathing, you are actually resetting your nervous system, your lymphatic nervous system, and basically saying, you know, this is not, I am not in danger. I am not going to be eaten by a lion, which is, you know, where all of this comes from. You know, so I talk all the time about how our genetic makeups, who we are, is very much based on, you know, like what, you know, like from way back, from when we were living in the caveman days, all of the different, you know, ways that we relate to people and how we relate to our world, that is all very much related to the to living in tribal times. And so by, you know, taking in your current environment, yeah, exactly, Sarah, definitely, just like taking in your current environment and saying and looking around and going, okay, I'm not in danger, breathing in and breathing out and going, I'm safe. There is nothing that is going to harm me right now. And again, this is something that, like, watching the news and watching what is going on and feeling so much stress for people that I care about and my friends, and, you know, like all the injustices that are happening, it can feel completely overwhelming and like the world is crushing me. But it is so, you know, important to just recognize that that is not actually what is going on. Again, looking at your current environment and going, I'm in my house, I am safe, I have water, I have food in my fridge, I am breathing properly. Just reminding yourself of those things. You know, if you have an Apple Watch, yeah, thanks, Sarah. You know, if you have an Apple Watch or a lot of the other, you know, watches, like if you have one of these, it actually detects when your heart rate is starting to skyrocket. I don't know if anyone has that turned on in their watch. If you have a watch and it doesn't do that, I would strongly recommend that you go into the settings and turn it on, because I've actually found that this is one of the biggest tools for me, is that as soon as my heart rate and my anxiety, not from exercising, it knows the difference. As soon as my anxiety starts to raise because of what's going on, because of what I'm you know, ingesting from the news or from, you know, whatever, you know, yeah, this tells me that it reminds me to breathe. And it actually has a tool in here that will allow you to watch a flower open and close, and it helps you breathe for an hour. So Sarah says, remind yourself the situation isn't as serious as your flight or flight is telling you. Sharing this, I want others to hear you. Yes, exactly. You know, the fight or flight is something that is built in us. It is, you know, part of our genetic makeup because of who we are as people. This is you know, we are animals. Animals do the exact same thing. You know, like if you see, you know, squirrels tense up because they like see a cat and then they run away. It's the same thing. We have that exactly the same thing. And so, the fight or flight is very, very valuable to just acknowledge that that's what's going on. Again, I've found in my mental health experience, in my mental health journey, I have found that having concrete knowledge about what is going on in my body and in my brain has been just paramount. It has been so incredibly important. And that's why, again, for anyone who's just joining us, I have an organization, More Than You See, that I started about a year ago that is 100% based on sharing non-traditional resources. And so in those non-traditional resources on the website and on the Instagram, I will share articles about fight or flight. I will have, different, I will share articles about, our genetic makeup in our brain and why we are reacting to different things the way that we are. So Sarah says, a few moments during this pandemic, forgive yourself, but ways you can improve and protect yourself from further overwhelming moments beyond my control. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's very, very valuable. This is the third Mighty Talk that I've had the privilege of doing. And in the first one, I talked a lot about how I live alone besides my dog, and More Than You See. Yes, that's my organization. So, I talked about in my first one about how I live alone. And that first week of the pandemic, I had my anxiety levels and depression completely skyrocketed because, of course, it was, and there was a lot of articles, really, incredibly valuable articles that were published during that time that was about, how we were all in a state of mourning as a culture because we had, very specific ideas about what our, life was going to be this year, and all of those sorts of things. And all of that was put on a different path because, we all need to, be in lockdown in order to support and protect our fellow people. And so that was something that it was very, very, difficult for me. And one thing that, even though this isn't really a tool, but it sort of is, something that was very, very helpful for me during that time was to focus on finding purpose. So finding purpose specifically in building a digital art show. So for the month of May, More Than You See had a digital art show over on our Instagram. And I collected art from all around the world. Different people shared their, different incredible, different pieces of art about mental health and about their own experience and relationship with mental health. And I find that art is actually very, very valuable. And in order to, take people's judgment away, because often when we create art, it's getting back into your own inner feelings, your own inner workings, and it's taking away personal judgment that you possibly have on yourself. And that's why I think, art therapy is really important. And that's why I created this art show for More Than You See over on our Instagram. And again, and it is also on our Facebook as well. So you can go and check out all of the really incredible work. We had submissions from Spain, New Zealand, all across America. And it's really, really, it's been so valuable and so amazing for me to be able to share other people's, artwork and their own expression. So again, yeah, definitely, I would be so honored if you went and checked out the art show that we have over there. And, again, I think that art is also something that I use all the time in order to help myself in times of stress. That's definitely a tool that I use. And I actually brought this time. Everyone always talks about these coloring books, and I think people, they sort of, bring these coloring books up as a sort of a joke, like, oh, you're gonna color like you're a kid. But honestly, this has been so incredibly valuable for me. So this is one that I'm currently doing, a snarky adult coloring book for beer lovers. And so this is something like I'm currently drawing on this, and this is something I'm doing if I'm feeling stressed. Again, if your stress levels are starting to heighten, if you can feel your heart start to race, if you can feel, anxiety can often feel like you've got bricks on your chest or on your shoulders. It feels like the world is pressing down on you. And, something that I have looked into, and so many scientists have talked about this, like, the whole power of manifestation thing, whether or not you have definitive feelings about, the power of manifestation and how that, comes into your life and how that actually shows up in your life. It is very, something that is 100% factual is that your thoughts and how you are perceiving things show up in your body. And that is why, again, going back to what Sarah was talking about, fight or flight, that's again why when you are feeling anxious, when you are feeling stressed, your body immediately clocks that thought in your brain and goes, okay, I need to protect me, Deborah, from whatever is causing that anxiety and that stress. And it puts me into fight or flight mode. And that is why it is so important to acknowledge, again, look around yourself and go, I am not in danger. You just take some, big deep breaths. I am not in danger. I'm actually not, going to be attacked by a tiger like in tribal times, and just, come back to your centering self. Honestly, even 5 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, 5 deep breaths, and your lymphatic nervous system will start to reset, and it will help a huge amount, I promise you. But that's where, then doing something that then, because obviously if you reset yourself and you take yourself down from that stress level, and then you go straight back into what you were doing, that obviously is going to require you to continually, grounding, calming affirmations. I am not actually a huge affirmations person. I probably should be. I honestly, for me, Sarah, if you have one you want to share, definitely let me know what your grounding, calming affirmation is. For me, it's I'm a very factual person in a lot of ways, and so for me it's really just going, okay, I am safe, I am protected, I am in my home, there is nothing threatening me, it is okay. And then what I will do is I will go for a walk outside, I will pick up my coloring book and I will start coloring. I will, go get a cool glass of water. I will do something to just a tiny bit of self-care. Oh, here we go. So Sarah said that she just affirms that I am okay and I am safe. Yeah, that's basically what I do as well, is I just, check in with my environment and go, that's a wonderful mantra where it's just like, I am okay, I am safe. You acknowledge that from around you, and then you proceed on with your day. And again, I would recommend doing something at that point that is a small little bit of self-care. I would love to, some of the self-care things that I have been doing in this quarantine, in this time of heightened stress and anxiety, is lighting candles or using essential oils. That's something that you can hear people talk about all the time, and I have to tell you, it helps me immensely. And this is something that I have essential oils that I will use when I'm working during the day, and I will have certain ones for focusing. And then I will have some that are for at nighttime. So at night, I often I have a vanilla candle that I love to light. It smells like birthday cake, makes me happy. I don't know. So that's what I often light at night. If I don't have a lavender, or if I don't have a vanilla candle, then I will often use some lavender essential oils. And that is, again, something that I just find really helps. And you don't even actually need a diffuser. Like a lot of people don't know this, but you can just take essential oils. Obviously don't ingest it. It's a tiny little bottle. And what you do is you take a little bit of the oil and you can put it on your pressure points the same way that you would with perfume or something. So put it on your wrists, put it behind your ears. These are all spots that cause, that have glands that help emit smells and stuff. I'm not a scientist. And so these different areas will help, just like calm you. So I find that that's actually very, very valuable, very important. Man, another thing that, Nicholas says that he likes to paint and gravel. Get your hands started landscaping or working with acrylics. Yes, Nicholas, I actually have so again, I was talking about how I have a mental health art show that we've been doing this month. And my submission for the art show is actually an acrylic painting of my dog on the beach, because he has been my most valuable tool in my own mental health journey. And so that's something that I'm going to be sharing. We currently have our art show on pause because we want to give, we don't want to pull focus, or we want to give as much voice to the Black Lives Matter movement. And we have decided to pause all of our submissions and postings right now, but in about a week, we are going to be releasing a few more of these submissions, and I'll release my painting of my dog. And I have been doing a lot of gardening as well. So I agree. And that's something, this talk is all about grounding and staying grounded during times of stress. And the whole idea around grounding is actually a practice. And before I continue with that, so Sarah suggested clove with clary, sage, and wild orange together in order to relax. So if someone is also looking for another suggestion about how to relax with essential oils, that is Sarah's suggestion there. Thank you for sharing. So again, going back to grounding. So the practice of grounding is actually about, it's about how we as people, and there's a lot of theoretics behind this, but it's about how we as people are meant to be grounded to the earth. Again, going back to our genetic makeup, who we are as people, who we are in our core, in our, DNA, there is, we as people were meant to walk on the grass, smell the earth, do all of these things outside, because that's how we were born. And so there's a lot of focus on grounding and the fact that if you are, need to, again, feel like you need to break your level of stress and anxiety, if you go outside, take off your shoes and put your feet in the grass, or, obviously not on cement. If you can get to dirt or grass or something natural that you can put your feet in, that is, incredibly important and helpful. Of course, I know that I am very, very privileged in the fact that I live in Los Angeles. We have a lot of, trees and nature around me. Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. You can definitely contribute. If you just go to More Than You See, to the Instagram or to the Facebook, or just find me. Again, my name is Deborah Lee Smith, and you can definitely contribute. So absolutely. And my dog is sleeping. Otherwise, I would introduce him to you guys again. But if you watch the beginning of this video, I did introduce my dog. So again, getting out to nature is incredibly important. It's really important to ground yourself in that space. And again, that gets us back to taking deep breaths when you are grounded, when you are in nature, smelling what is, around you, hearing what is around you. Our senses are the ultimate grounder, or ways that we can remind ourselves, who we are at our core, and that we are safe, and that, what around us is not going to harm us. And so, that's incredibly important for me. I agree. Nicholas, I've been, oh my gosh, all the weeding. My backyard looks fantastic right now. It's incredible. Again, I know that I'm very privileged. I have a very tiny backyard here in LA, and it's, I love it. It's just so incredible to get outside in nature and do something, to connect myself with that. So along the same lines as that is exercise. Exercise is such a valuable tool when it comes to, letting go of stress and anxiety. I feel like that's not, this is not a groundbreaking idea here. But it's just a good reminder to yourself that, exercise is not, it's not just about, like staying fit and healthy. It's also about, it really impacts your mental health. Not only is it, getting you outside if you are going for a walk or a hike or a run or, a stroll, a skip outside, not only is it very important that it's doing that, but it is also just, again, getting your brain a break from whatever you are, whatever you're surrounding yourself with. So getting away from your computer screen, getting away from your TV screen, getting some exercise, gets your blood moving, so incredibly important. It brings oxygen back into your body, back into your brain. I think that we forget sometimes that our bodies we're actually, operational machines. Like our bodies, do function. Like our bodies could function if we just ate Doritos and soda. Like our bodies technically would probably function at that level for an extended period of time. Would our bodies function the best that they could? No. Would our mental health probably be the best that it could? No, because our brains are completely connected to our body. And that's one thing, this is one of the reasons why I am such a strong mental health advocate, is because, mental health has been stigmatized for so long that it is something that only some people have. Like mental illness is only, certain people, that it's, you're weak if you have those, those feelings. And it is my mission in life, both as an actor and a producer and a mental health advocate, as well as, in this, I know that I'm speaking for the mighty as well. Like they as well, it's so important to take away that stigma and to acknowledge that we all need to take care of our mental health. Whether you have experienced, slay the stigma. I love that, Allison, or Sarah, sorry. It's, I think that it's so important to acknowledge that our mental health and our physical health are 100% connected, and we need to focus just as much on our mental health as we do on our physical health. There's no that one is more important than the other. They're completely connected. They are completely intertwined. And if you let go of one, then it, completely negatively impacts the other. So it is so, so incredibly important to take care of both. And exercise really does help you take care of both. So I strongly recommend exercise. Something else that I would love to, bring up is reducing your caffeine intake. And this is really difficult for me because, man, do I love me some coffee. I am a huge, huge coffee person, but it is, I think that it's important to acknowledge, and this is something, just in, over the past couple of years, as I have really gone down my own mental health journey and my recovery from being in a really dark, depressive state to now, and all of the work that I have done with that, all of the work that I have done with that, one thing that has been so important with that is acknowledging the different signals that my body gives me. And one signal is caffeine, is that if caffeine causes you to be jittery, if it causes you to be anxious, I would strongly suggest that you cut back in some way. And Sarah said, don't say that as a joke. I mean, I understand. Believe me, I am also a huge coffee person. I have my coffee over here in my, if you need me, I'll be over here being a badass mug. This is my afternoon coffee here. But I have found that it's actually very valuable that I have started to, really try and pare down my coffee. I used to drink a lot more coffee. And, just reducing my caffeine intake, I definitely have found that that has helped me, stay more grounded and not be quite so, anxious and heightened. But again, this is all about knowing your body, because for you could drink 10 cups of coffee and it could be totally fine. Again, not a doctor. That doesn't exactly sound healthy, but it's your body, and, talk to your own doctor about that. But if you find that you are anxious after you drink coffee, maybe consider cutting it out. And that brings me to something else that I want to talk about, which is, signals. Everyone is different. Exactly, Stacy. Everyone is different as far as, what, how it affects us. So I wanted to say that, one thing that is really, been valuable for me is, just with the pandemic, as well as everything that's going on right now in the rest of our country. And, again, I am, my views are could possibly be separate from the Mighty's. I personally, I'm not speaking for the Mighty, but me personally, myself, Deborah, I am very supportive of the Black Lives Movement, but of course it is still stressful to watch what's going on, to watch people being injured, to watch, people in states of distress. It is, of course it personally affects me in absorbing this information that we are constantly absorbing. And so I think that it is important to do two things. Number one, to acknowledge that this stress is has a reason. I think that I wore this shirt specifically today. It says "Resist Easy Answers." It's from an organization in Los Angeles called Level Ground. They're a really amazing art-focused organization that gives voices to different groups, and they have really, incredible art that asks difficult questions and requires you to think about your place in society. I think that that's really important. And I think that everything that's going on in the news right now, it requires you to think about your place in society and how you are going to contribute to society in whatever way you are. So I think that number one, it is important to acknowledge the news that's coming in, acknowledge what's going on, and to put your own brain into it and think about how you are relating to the world. That's number one. Number two, it's still important. This is about mental health. This talk is about mental health. I feel that mental health is so incredibly important. And I think that it is very, very important to acknowledge when your own mental health is now at stake because of what is going on. So acknowledge what's going on, acknowledge your place in it, ask the hard questions if you need to ask the hard questions, acknowledge things, digest things as you need to, but also take care of yourself and take care of your own stress levels and anxiety. A few things that I've been doing in order to help with that is, number one, I am only checking the news 3 times a day for 5 to 10 minutes a day. I check it in the morning. I set a timer. I literally set a timer for, depending upon how I'm feeling. And again, this is again about knowing yourself, knowing your body, and going, right now, I think I can only read the news for 5 minutes. So I'll set my timer. See, even talking about this, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm getting anxious. And so I'm acknowledging that and acknowledging that there is reasons behind this. So I will set a timer for 5 minutes. I will open my news app. I will start to read the news to, pull in the bits of information that are important, that I want to, be an informed citizen and know what's going on, be an informed member of society. And then as soon as that timer goes off, it's off. And I will not check the news again until, in the afternoon when I decide to, and again in the evening. But I am being very careful about, not checking the news right before I go to bed. That was something that I did this weekend, and it was really difficult because, I have so many people who I care about, and the anxiety of being concerned about them and all of that stress was affecting my sleep. And look, I cannot, give back and help and be the voice that I want to be if I am a mess because I haven't, slept and am anxious and, have gone down a spiral. So it's very important for me to acknowledge and to set those boundaries for myself. Setting boundaries, so incredibly important. Honestly, I would say if you could walk away from today with one tool that will help you stay grounded and during times of stress, it is to set boundaries for yourself as well as for the people around you. And what I mean by that is my friends know that I don't want to know the news. That they know that I am checking the news at specific times of the day, and that if I want to know about something, I will ask them. This is a boundary that I had to set for myself because I have some friends who are watching the news all day long, even when it was just the pandemic. Even 6 weeks ago, they were watching the news, they were watching the rising numbers, and they would be texting me updates about what was going on and who said this and what said this and blah blah blah. And it was putting me into such a state of fight or flight all the time. I was in such a heightened level of anxiety that I had to message them and say, I love you. I'm so, happy that you're able to bring in that level of news all the time, but I just can't. I need to set some boundaries. So yeah, thank you, Sarah. Boundaries are so incredibly healthy. Another tool I wanted to share, and this is something that I started doing that I don't know if people really know that you can do, is I have started to mute people on my Instagram. And I'm going to show you with my sister's profile because she won't mind if I mute her for a second. So when you mute someone, what you can do is actually have it so that they will not show up now in your feed or in your stories on Instagram. And the way that you do that, so is you go to the person's profile. This is my sister's profile. And you go, let's see. Oh, here we go. So you go to where it says following. So that, the little following thing with the drop down, and then there's mute. And if you click on mute, you can decide if you want to mute their stories and their posts or one or the other. And then you just get out of it and that's it. And now, you can take breaks from Facebook notifications from certain people. Yeah, that's really awesome, Sarah. I didn't realize that. That's something on Instagram that has been so important for me. And it's not honestly even in relation to, to this pandemic or to what's going on. To me, like sometimes even I will have, people sharing stuff about their own careers or their, personal relationships, like, all the lovey, my relationship is perfect posts. And sometimes I don't want to watch that. And it is personally causing me stress and anxiety. And so I will mute that person. They don't know that they've been muted. It is 100%, just focused on helping you. And so I find that is like an incredibly important thing to like help you build a boundary during this time. So we're almost out of time. So I just wanted to recap again all of the different tools that I've talked about that are things that have helped me to really stay grounded during this time. Again, my name is Deborah Lee Smith. I'm an actor, a producer, and a mental health advocate here in Los Angeles, California. I have an organization that I started called More Than You See. We have a art show going on right now, a digital art show to bring some focus about mental health and personal art. That is my platform, More Than UC. We are focused on bringing non-traditional resources to people to help deal with mental health. Thank you so much, Sarah. That really makes my day. I'm so glad you enjoyed the talk. I think that, if you look over on More Than You See, we really focus on, non-traditional resources. So podcasts, books, TED Talks, articles, books on tape, videos, other videos, stuff like that. And so the platform was really built as a mental health toolkit so that you can go on there and say, I'm feeling anxious today about my relationship. And we have tags on there where you can go, I want to read about relationships and read what, all of these different experts from around the world have talked about, relationships. I am constantly adding resources on there. I strongly suggest that you follow us on Instagram. This is something that is only a year old, and it's already been such a huge help for myself and so incredibly for others, which is just so, so wonderful. I'm so glad that I've been able to help people in such a profound way. And I have a lot of really big ideas for this year. So I strongly recommend that you go ahead and follow us, and you'll see what else that we're creating there. So again, let's talk about those tools really quick. We'll just go down the line and talk about them. So number one, pets. So important. Oh, he's still napping. Otherwise, I'd show you guys him again. So, pets, having something that gives you purpose on your daily basis. And I mean, I have a dog. It could be a cat. It could be a fish. It could be whatever. Alternatively, if you don't want a pet, don't like pets, don't like animals, whatever, get a plant, get a house plant, get a cactus. You can't kill a cactus. Get a cactus. Having something that is another life force that you are taking care of is really, really valuable. And if you get a houseplant, as I said, earlier, houseplants, incredibly, they absorb carbon dioxide from the air. They release oxygen. That is so valuable because obviously they are, bringing life back into your environment, back into your surroundings. That brings us to suggestion number 2, which is to, if you're feeling anxious, stress, if your anxiety levels are starting to creep up, I strongly recommend that you look around you, you look at your environment, and you check in with yourself. Say that mantra that Sarah was talking about before, which is, I am okay and I am safe. There is nothing around here right now that is going to hurt me. Use your eyes, use your nose, use your ears. Acknowledge, use your senses to acknowledge that you yourself are safe. Again, this goes back to the fact that we are animals, and that is who we are at our core, and therefore we are concerned, like our fight or flight is a innate part of our bodies that causes this, our stress levels to spike. And so it's very important to acknowledge what you're feeling in your body and go, it's fine. There is nothing that is going to harm me. Take some, deep breaths, 5 or 6 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just recognize that you are grounded, you are okay. Nothing is going to harm you. Kick back that fight or flight, keep that from really causing more stress and anxiety. Again, other things that I use, I color all the time. I also paint. I also scrapbook. I do a lot of things with my hands that will that are not have to do with my computer, and it's so valuable to, you know, have a practice. And it does not have to be good, guys. You can draw stick figures, you know, that sort, anything like that. Do origami, like Google, you know, how to make an origami crane. It's actually quite simple. It's very cathartic, and it's really beautiful to, you know, create something with your hands, tangible. It's really, you know, very valuable, very wonderful. Again, you know, using essential oils, using candles, using smells. There's like lists of essential oils if you go online, of different ways to bring down your stress levels. But lavender is really, really a really wonderful smell that like has been known to, you know, drop your stress level. You know, along the lines with that is also going outside, getting grounded with the earth, taking off your shoes, putting your feet in the grass, putting your feet in the dirt, just getting back to earth. We are animals. That is who we are at our core, and it's important for us to get back to nature. Same thing, going for a run, or, you know, going for a walk, going for a stroll, anything, getting outside of your current environment, changing your environment is a really, really important thing to de-stress. So that's really all the time that I have today. Thanks again so much for everyone for joining me. Again, my name is Deborah Lee Smith. I'm an actor and a producer and a mental health advocate. I implore everyone to stay safe, to stay healthy, and to really check in with yourself during this time. You know, again, there is a lot going on, but, you know, mental health is so incredibly important, and it is very valuable to acknowledge the fact that your feelings are valid. If you are feeling anxious about what's going on, set those boundaries. Do something to, you know, bring yourself back to a level of feeling safe, and a level of comfort, because it's so, you know, everything that you feel is valid, and it's important to acknowledge that, because you yourself are an important person. You're an important member of society, and that's it. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Thank you, The Mighty, for having me. It was lovely to chat with you all, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks so much.